heard you grew up nice and sheltered with mama's pretty stories and your own made up fury. And mama gave me a magic clicker. Well, yes, I think it's true and fair to say. Come on in and listen, lost words you've been missing. Now the fire you're bearing, the eye of the darkness, your light. So you were drawn to stories early on. My dreams would light up my imagination, and you had nightmares night and day. Yeah, but with the clicker I chased those frights away. Ooh, you, so true. So here is the clue of hope to remember. Visions, they come true. Bend the light switch too. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness. Lost in the never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface. And all your stories of crime and chilling thrillers of hard-boiled killers became bestsellers. It was all too much, I had to get away. The story's the end, all a piece of true fiction. They mean endless in the face of creation. But there is more to it than meets the eye. I never meant for it to ruin my life that way. Would you say you lived a jaded lie? Dark shades could never save the day. So sad, but true. Fighting the nightmares, torch and a light switch, a gift or a curse, a reality made of dreams. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness. Lost in the never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface. He could write a new story like Tom Zane before him, and maybe they'd be happy once again. Just one shot, one more chance for him to save their marriage away from the city, a romantic getaway.
16 times the detail. We're aiming for a controversial 7 out of 10.
Diving deep to the surface.
Good morning, everybody. As you can tell, I'm sick. Can you tell by my voice? I'm pretty sick. So today we're going to be limited. I won't be able to talk a lot. We're probably going to do a very short stream today because I woke up and I tried to say something to my little 2-year-old son and no words came out. It was just so yeah, that's happening right now. I'm doped up on medicine. I have taken everything in the medicine cabinet, and this is the result. So at least I can sort of talk. I've been sick this week too. Yeah, something's going on. Something's going around. It's not just us. We are not alone. We are not alone. But I don't foresee being able to talk for extended periods of time, which is why I'm like, we're probably going to be a little limited. We might have to call it short, just depending on how the throat does after, like, the moment I start to feel it really uncomfortable, we'll probably just call it. I don't want to like lose my voice long term, you know. Oh man. Mister, I actually have a studio tour in the works. It should be up in a few days actually. Hopefully. I'm waiting for approval, but yeah. We have like a full walkthrough coming. We pause the Alan Wake music. It's amazing though, right? That one song, man. It's fantastic. Oh wait. There we go. Let's see. Lies of P, absolutely. Dark Souls 3 is also amazing, but I love me some Lies of P. I just like the setting, you know, the artwork. See, that's supposed to also have Twitch up on it too. I don't know why it's not. Weird. Okay. Voila. Okay. Okay. Anyway, how are you guys? Hopefully not as sick. Hopefully not as sick. What's the skull behind me? That's Grandma Sue. Yeah, that's Grandma. Yeah, she's just hanging out. I like to keep her close. Is it snowing? Not right now. I've been waiting for the snow, but yeah, it's not happening yet. Soon, hopefully. Have you seen PAX Day Early Access? Asmon's been playing with his viewers and the game looks really cool. I have not seen that. I haven't been able to play it yet. But I'll keep an eye on it. Let's see. Doped up on dope. Yeah, I mean, I am in Colorado, so. Yeah, Proto, it's mostly like while I'm setting stuff up, I'll be like,
But something's wrong with the game. We're aiming for a controversial 7 out of 10.
I'm vibing.
that's most of it. And then I'm like, oh, right, I'm supposed to be doing a show. Like, I should start this. I should start this. Oh yeah, so little correction. Where is the tab? I had pulled up. Where, did I just close it accidentally? Basically, Jason Schreier said that they are actually still working on the Knights of the Old Republic remake. They are working on it, but It's just like probably only a few people. So it's happening. As for whether it releases is another question though. Bluey game review. Oh, dude, I saw that it's apparently horrible. I wanted it to be good. Bluey, the video game review. My kids love this show.
Here we go.
Whoa!
The very same weekend we received Bluey the video game, Australia's ABC broadcasted a countdown of the top 100 Bluey episodes, as voted by the public. Tuning in for the final 20 or so, it was the perfect opportunity to catch up with any of the very best ones I'd managed to miss over the years ahead of this review. One of those was onesies, and I actually swore aloud when the theme was revealed.
Yeah, you said that word you said when the mole didn't start.
Seriously, the
Oh, not even close to the same voices.
ability of this children's show to tackle a concept as complex as infertility for an audience of any age, and with such an expert balance of levity and empathy, is nothing short of remarkable. In the countless toys and the tubes of licensed toothpaste. Low on innovation and high on what feels like contractual obligation, Bluey the video game is really a low-effort mobile game masquerading as a mid-priced console and PC product. It may absolutely look the part compared to the show itself, but with its assortment of shallow minigames rife with annoying bugs, frustrating controls, and a bafflingly brief runtime of a little over an hour, the end result is sadly a lot like...
It's a little over an hour. A little over an hour long. And I think they're charging full price for it. Seriously, why is my keyboard making sound? Is that an opera thing? You guys are hearing that too, right? It's playing through the speakers. Right? Or am I just losing my mind? Is the sickness going to my head? It's $30. Oh, it's 40. $40 for an hour. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. That's like people were giving Spider-Man 2 some crap. That's that's something else, man. Wow. An hour of runtime. That's oof. Oof, man. I wanted to play it with the boys. I thought it'd be fun, but if it's only an hour for $40, like I'm good. I'm good. I mean, I don't know what we expected. So like, let's be honest. It's probably expected. Like it shouldn't be shocked, but still. Okay. This one other thing. I will talk about. I can already tell my voice is gonna break here soon. It's just falling apart. But we'll touch on this. Sorry to everybody listening in the VOD because my voice sounds so broken and terrible. But I just wanted to touch on this because this was just broken by Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming. They've had like every scoop. They know people. Like they know people. They've got the inside scoop on all this stuff. And he found out a bunch of details about the roguelike mode that was announced as part of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Specifically that it's going to have 12 different levels, according to the LinkedIn profile of a Naughty Dog QA tester. Again, it's always LinkedIn. These guys, like they want to brag about the stuff they're working on and they end up screwing up. It's so funny to me. Like, just don't put it in your LinkedIn profile. It's like, why do you have to brag about every little bitty thing? This is how so much stuff leaks. It's crazy. So the news was initially spotted by Twitter user Jonastic, who discovered the description of the game from a current Naughty Dog QA tester. According to the profile, they will have 12 different levels. Specifically, they say, Let me zoom in. Enhance. Enhance. Okay. Created, implemented, and tested AI dialogue regions in Engine across 12 different no-return roguelike level layouts in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Created, modified, and tested render regions in Engine by adjusting lighting levels to fit visual filter aesthetics throughout 135 tasks in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered story mode. And tested, modified, extraneous audio regions and adjusted PAT tags on surfaces and objects throughout 12 different no-return roguelike levels. So it seems like there's 12 levels. Cool. Cool. What we're supposed to do with that, I don't know. But there's that. There's that. Alonzo, thank you for the 2. So happy your cat came home. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. He's a happy camper now. He's kind of a bougie cat. He does not like being outside in the cold. So I think when he got home and he's like, oh, a bed and food and a litter box, he was very happy. And cuddles. It was great. Yeah, very excited for this, not going to lie, says Yokes. Yeah, I am too. I was braced for this to be another like $60, $70 remake, remaster, where it's you can't even tell the difference between the two. And there's nothing else except maybe some outfits you can swap into. And while it largely looks the same, at least from what we've seen so far, I will say that the added content, the lost levels, all of that, and a $10 upgrade path, to me is compelling. Like, I think that that's fair. You're giving us access to lost levels, to a roguelike mode if you just want to push yourself with the combat, which is, you know, extremely robust in that game. All of that for $10. I'm gonna jump on it. I think that's fair. Like, the reason we memed on The Last of Us Part 1 was because it was such an extreme ask for $70 or $60, whatever it launched at. Either way, full price, and it was like full price, man. Like, yeah, it looks better, but it's the same exact game. Like, nothing's been added or changed or anything. At least with this, we get some really novel things introduced, which is cool. And this is one I'm really excited about. I was playing it last night, actually, just to see how it runs. And those load times are pretty rough. Once you're in the game, like, they cover it up with cutscenes and stuff, so you don't feel it once you're playing. But once you load into the game, there's a really long load screen that's maybe like 30 seconds to a minute long. And in the age of the PS5's SSD and the Xbox's SSD, it's just very, very... it's just a massive speed bump, you know. So it's going to be great to get that removed. But this is something I'm looking forward to. I think it looks really good. I think the new stuff sounds fascinating, and the lost levels are probably what most interest me, frankly. Will there be a free roam podcast this week, Luke? Yeah. Now that I'm talking, I'm realizing it might not be a good idea to film it today. Because of my voice. So I'm hoping, you know, maybe if I'd hate to push it again, but if we push it to Friday, maybe at least then I can talk like a human, and for everybody listening on audio, it'll work. Let me message Jor while we're here. Voila. I feel like such a professional streamer. I'm live and I'm just not paying attention to you guys at all. Isn't that great? Oh man, it's one of my favorite things is to look like really successful streamers that have like tens of thousands of people in chat, and like chat's going crazy and just whipping by constantly, and they're just over here like, and there's just so much dead air. It's so weird to me. It's so weird for me. It's crazy. You can never hear it. I think it sounds different in your head compared to the mic. Oh, probably. For me, it's that like, for me, it's that like, I can actually feel like it's uncomfortable to talk. So if the longer I talk, the more uncomfortable it gets. And I can throw out my voice doing that. I've done that before. I was sick like this during a play, and we were in Tech Week, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically like when you're doing a play, the first performance, let's just say it's on Friday the 1st, right, of the month. The whole week before that is called Tech Week, and it's the week when everything is in overdrive. It's like crunch for a video game. So you're going into the theater space, you're trying out the costumes, you're mic'd up, you're doing all that stuff. A lot of plays don't use microphones or anything, but you get the point. Like you're going through the motions and actually tying everything together. And it can be very intense because for like big productions, it can be like 16-hour days of you just constantly talking and performing and doing the scenes 15 times over and over and over again while they get the lights fixed and all that. And so one time I was sick like this during Tech Week, and Monday I pushed through it like this. Tuesday I was starting to lose my voice, and by Wednesday, like I would try to talk like this, and it was just like just nothing. And so I've learned not to push it. If you kind of, one of my vocal teachers years ago, she was so funny, and we would make fun of her because she always called it your instrument. She's like, you have to protect your instrument. She's like, if you played a trumpet and it was broken, or if you had a guitar and the strings were frayed, would you keep playing it? No, you'd fix it and then play it. Which, touche, Mrs. Faust. So if you ever hear me just be like, hold on, I have to go take care of my instrument. I'm not talking about my genitals. I'm talking about my throat. Okay. Luke, it was weird. Luke stormed off stream. It was like, I have to fix my instrument. That'd be, yeah, you know what? Whatever it means. Like, it's good either way. Oh, hot honey. Yeah, honey, some tea. For me, it's chai. Like the cayenne, if you do a chai and then you put a little bit of cayenne pepper in it, that's what makes it spicy. And that on my throat, when it's like this, for whatever reason, feels really good. It's very cleansing. That, I love turmeric as well. All that good stuff. We're getting Todd out of the closet. Yeah, I started feeling sick right as I took Todd out of the closet for that Bethesda video. You can kind of hear my voice starting to go in that video, but we pushed through it. Doctor Strange, since I found you on YouTube, I started tuning into every stream. Thanks for the quality stream. Sorry to hear about the swatting. Oh yeah, no, everything is good now. It's blown me away that there's been a flood of streamers dealing with that. So I don't know if it's like a little gang of people on like 4chan going around and doing this to like any streamer they can find. But like, I'm a very small streamer. I'm a bigger YouTuber, but I'm a very small streamer. And yet we've seen, like, I saw XQC got swatted a few times. Speed got swatted in his brand new house. Like, tons of people are getting hit with it. And so I don't know what the deal is, but hopefully they catch him. Hopefully. He got swatted 2 days back. Yeah. Like, I don't like Speed or XQC's content or whatever they do on stream, but that does not mean that it's okay for that to happen. Like, it's crazy to me that this is such a widespread issue again, all of a sudden. That's what makes me think it's maybe just one or two people doing it, because this was not a thing for a few years. It kind of died out because they caught a few people doing it and sent them off to prison for like 40, 50 years apiece. And That's what it should be. I have to figure out how to turn that off. Like there was this guy that was convicted. He was a serial swatter. And he actually got somebody killed. But he was doing it to a ton of people. Like he was just going around and calling like all sorts of people, doing it time and time and time and time again. I want to find the picture because the pictures of this guy are like, yeah. Doesn't he look like somebody who would do this? Standard incel. What a piece of garbage. What a piece of garbage. But like he was going around and he just did it to a ton of people. And he only got 20 years. This guy only got 20 years, which I think is very light. But yeah. That's why usually it seems like there's usually one or two people behind a lot of these things. So once they catch one, it's not a problem for a while. Got the Smash Bros haircut. Looks like Michael Cera. Yeah, I mean, poor guy. I mean, he just lost his chin. It's just not there. It's just gone. How does he chew without that thing? It's just mouth, neck. There's nothing in between. Luke, are you making fun of that guy's appearance? Yeah, because he got a guy killed. I think at that point I'm allowed to make fun of you. I think at that point you forfeit your right to not be made fun of. You know, I think that opens it up. How does he fold towels? Oh, Yokes, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's amazing. How does bro fold towels? Just... he tries to tuck it and it just falls every single time. Poor guy. Poor guy. His linen closet must be a disaster. Just wadded up. Oh man. That's amazing. I love that. Sid looking ass. Yeah, for real. Okay, let's touch on this thing before my voice fully goes. Let's see. Okay. We've talked about Redfall a handful of times because Redfall, of course, was one of the most delightful disasters of the last year or so. A lot of us saw it coming. It just didn't look very good. And then when it came out, we were like, yep, sure enough, it sucks. But I don't think any of us expected it to be like so broken and unfun, but it just was the perfect mix of live service, brain dead development, and then also just a jumbled hodgepodge of tech that didn't really work properly. And as a result, they've had to spend the last year or two fixing, not two, but the last year basically fixing the game. And they've added some improvements. They added 60 FPS support. I did a video following up on it on the main channel. And it ran better. Like the guns felt way more zippy and tight. Like, you know, when you're playing a shooter and you fire the bullet and then it makes contact, the hit registration is super accurate and the damage immediately is reduced just instantaneously. It just feels really tight and well optimized. And that's what it started to feel like last time I played it. So it is way better than it was, because it used to be that you'd shoot and then, you know, the hit registration might be a little off or a little delayed just by like 1/10 of a second or 1/4 of a second, but just enough for you to notice that it's not working the way it should. So they've made improvements and stuff, but they're still really far behind because, again, this is supposed to be a live service game. This is supposed to be a game that you're playing for years and years and years on end. And so as a result, they've pretty much put all of the live service elements on hold while they just try to get the game working the way it should have been working day one. And so they just announced that it looks like Bethesda's Redfall is not going to get new heroes or all of the other deluxe edition content until sometime next year. So like straight up a year of nothing, which is crazy. This article from PC Gamer goes on. Arcane has dropped a new update for its undead shooter Redfall that adds a powerful new weapon, makes a number of changes to AI, which is sorely needed because the AI still, even after this update, is pretty brain dead. So they still have some work to do, but I'm glad to hear that they're making fixes, missions, and gameplay, and introduces a handful of performance and stability tweaks. Unfortunately, it also reveals that the promised Hero Pass, a $30 upgrade to the base game that promises 2 new heroes to play as, is still in development and won't be available until next year. Again, like, it's so insane to me. There was like $100 variation of this game. There was a version of this game that people spent $100 on, or upgraded their base version $30 up to get the Hero Pass that they've still not gotten like any benefit from. It's wild to me. Now, some people have said, oh, they should just walk away. And technically there is a precedent for that. Another game that did that. Let me see if I can find an article on it real quick. Yeah, another game that did this was Assassin's Creed Unity. They actually canceled the season pass back in 2014. Basically, the game was just really poorly received, and they could not justify all of the work and money being poured into it to make it to deliver everything they sold in the season pass. So they made the Unity Dead Kings DLC free for everybody. They have the choice of an additional selection of a game. So they could pick a video game basically to get for free. It's not clear if people were able to get full refunds or what, but at the very least, they tried to make amends by giving away free stuff. And maybe if Xbox decides to just pull the plug on it, maybe they do something like that. Maybe they go and I don't know, offer a year of Game Pass for free or something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's a good way to win them over. But with all of this, like, the big problem for Redfall is just that apparently the devs don't even like the game. Like, the devs wanted Xbox to cancel it once they were acquired. So, like, it was a really interesting situation where Redfall is the result of ZeniMax, the parent company, forcing them to make a live service game to boost revenue numbers so that they look better when they're acquired by Xbox. Everybody at Arcane Austin doesn't want to make Redfall, but they're doing it because the bosses say they have to. And then Xbox buys them, and everybody at Arcane Austin is like, oh, thank God. Thank God. They're going to come in, see how terrible this is. They're going to cancel it. We can go make Dishonored, whatever, Deathloop 2. We can do something we really want to do. But Xbox came in and it's like, we respect your creative freedom. We're not touching anything. Keep making what you were making. And they're like, well, crap. We were hoping you'd cancel it. So they had to shove it out the door. And as a result, it was just an unmitigated disaster. But apparently the devs don't even really like the game itself. So they're working on it, but not joyfully. And frankly, at this point, like, if they're trying to acquire talent as well to help them develop it, if they post a hiring notice, who's going to want to go and work on Redfall right now? Like, why would you work on Redfall when you can go and work at Bethesda Game Studios, Austin? Or you can go work at any of the other game development studios in Austin. Or if you're willing to travel, apply for any other job anywhere else. Like, nobody wants to work on a dying game or a game that everybody hates. Everybody wants to work on a big game that they can be really proud of. And that's a big problem for talent retention and acquisition, is once you have that bad reputation, you're just not attracting the talent. So it's going to be interesting to see how Redfall pans out. They're promising to do sort of a No Man's Sky, Fallout 76 situation where they want to dig it out of its grave and give it a new life and stuff. We'll just have to see if that happens. I'll believe it when I see it. As of right now, I just don't know how many people are actually that interested. Like with No Man's Sky, there were millions of people that really, really wanted the game to be great and saw the vision and were like, this could be great if they just followed through on it. But with Fallout 76, there were also a lot of people that liked the idea and the concept. With Redfall, I don't think there ever was anybody that was into the idea. So I don't foresee this having a big comeback. But if it does, I would love to be wrong, and we shall see. We shall see. Stefan, unfortunately, I am sick. I'm sorry. Chris Dad, yeah. Well, that's why the co-streaming's nice, is that you can just go where you want to. Isn't that great? It is nice. BioWare and 343 are suffering the same issue with lack of talent. Well, exactly. I mean, BioWare especially, like, if you are an established, successful game developer, why would you want to go to the company that has EA, like, breathing down your neck, and that has also released back-to-back colossal flops? Like, nobody wants to be associated with that. No, nobody. Like, they had Mass Effect Andromeda, which was a massive flop and a disaster. And then their big comeback was supposed to be Anthem. We all know how that story ended. So, yeah, not great. Anthem was a train wreck. Anthem, like, in terms of movement, combat, that type of thing, it seemed like a decent enough concept, but they just didn't have content. Like, there just wasn't enough to play with. It was like, okay, like, you can run through and do some stuff, but like, there's just not much more meat on the bone, you know? Sorry, everybody. I'm like super disoriented and all over the place. So let me catch up on these things because you guys are being very generous. First of all, over on the Twitch side of things, Yokes gifted a community sub. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Nobody is resubbing at tier 1, subbed for 31 months. Oh, baby. Is it about time I just convert this over to a YouTube membership, lol? No, dude, keep that streak going. Jason Schwa, thank you for the 5,000 bits, my friend. Appreciate you. Logan, also at tier 1. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you dearly. Proto subbed with Prime for 2 months. Ooh, I forgot about this. Well, there you go. You got it. Thank you, my friend. And all the new followers over there. Much love, much love. And then on the YouTube side of things, thank you, Charge. Any update on when the next Ultimate Critique is coming? Have a good day. I've been working on Baldur's Gate 3, and I'll tell you what, every time I have like a chunk written and stuff, they seem to update the game to make that thing irrelevant. So like they added the ability to just respec like your whole party and stuff. So like that takes a huge chunk of what I wrote, throws it out the door. So it's been an uphill battle. I feel kind of like George R.R. Martin, where I'm like, I promise I'm working on it, but every time it's like I feel like I'm not making any progress on it. Diaqua, thank you for the 2 gaming/office chair recommendations. 2 easy recommendations. Seeker Lab if you like the look and if you don't have a bad back. If you have a bad back, it's expensive as hell, but the Aeron is what I use, by Herman Miller. The Aeron. It doesn't look the sexiest of all chairs. It certainly doesn't look very gamery, but straight up this chair fixed my neck pain. Like I used to constantly be popping my neck. You guys would see it in stream all the time because my neck and back would just hurt after sitting in chairs for extended periods of time. And now in this thing, it just fixed it. Like it's crazy. There's also, I mean, if you just look at ergonomic chairs, there's a lot of options as well. But seriously, like ergonomic chairs, office chairs are probably the way to go if you're worried about long-term back problems and stuff. Spec Ops, thank you for the 10. Good to see you again, my friend. Glad you guys are okay. Let me know. My friends make people disappear. Well, I shot you a long text. Not sure if it went through. I actually, as a result of all of this, we changed over our business phone numbers and phone lines and everything. So that number, the business number, is no longer mine. We changed it. So like shoot me an email or something like that and we can go from there. But I'm glad you mentioned that because yeah, that number is no longer mine. We swapped numbers. Ethan Sapp, thank you for becoming a member as well. Thank you, my friend. Taylor, thank you for 5 months. Oh, baby. Curious if you checked out the Half-Life 25th anniversary documentary Valve and NoClip put out, similar vibes to Raising Kratos. I've not actually watched it yet, but I have it downloaded on my phone because we have a longer drive today to see my family for Thanksgiving. So I was going to watch it as part of that trip on the on the journey. So I actually am going to watch it probably later today. So maybe we talk about that Friday. Joaquim, thank you also for 9 months of support. That's amazing. Appreciate you. And like I said, Alonzo, thank you for the 2. And yeah, very glad Finley made it home. Take care of that instrument. Take care of that instrument. People are going to be saying that all the time now. Luke, your instrument sounds dry. Heat, also, thank you for subbing with Prime, my friend. Appreciate you. Yokes. If we just, I think it should still work. Exclamation point in Discord. Yeah, there we go. Don't you love it when the bots still work? Isn't that great? Are you streaming on Friday and Monday? You're not taking the holiday off? Well, the holiday for me is Thursday. I think Friday, assuming my voice is back in the afternoon, we'll do the podcast. And then Monday will be, you know, same old, same old. Yeah, I think, like, I know some people might find this weird. At least, like, other streamers have said this. But, like, I know a lot of streamers view streaming as, like, their job. And it's like, oh, going into the office, like, I gotta go stream for however many hours and make that money. But for me, like, honestly, the YouTube channel, the main channel, is my job. And this is just for fun. Like, I really enjoy this. I stream because I enjoy it. I like talking with all of you and doing all of this. And like, we've been working very hard to find ways that this can make money, or at least pay for itself, with like the money needed to pay Jacob to cut stream clips and Trevor to cut TikToks and stuff. So we're trying to make ways to make it self-sustaining, at least. So it's not like a really expensive hobby. But yeah, people are always like, why are you streaming when you're supposed to be like vacationing or taking time off? I'm like, cause I like this. Like, this is my enjoyment. Like, this is what I like to do, and it makes me happy. Like for some people, it might be sitting on the couch watching football. Okay, cool. For other people, it might be, you know, laying in bed and binging Netflix. That's totally fine. But for me, like, I really enjoy hanging out with all of you and doing this. Like, that's where I find some joy. So I was at that Ubisoft event for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and I was talking to another guy that does a lot of streaming. And I won't name drop him just in case he wouldn't want this to be known. But it was interesting because he was like, oh yeah, man, I'm so glad that I have some days off where I don't have to stream. I don't have to be on camera or anything. And I was like, honestly, I kind of miss it. I was only gone for technically a stream for Wednesday, but I felt like I missed it. So I guess that's a good sign. It shows that I'm not burnt out, but some people are like that. Some people are actively burnt out, and they're still just like dragging themselves in. It's just funny. Sumaya, thank you for the super chat. Luke, what's your most anticipated game for 2024? Mine is AC Red, if there is innovation in gameplay. I'm not a huge GTA fan, but I'm looking forward to it as well. Yeah, and there's rumors that GTA might get pushed into early 2025. We'll see kind of how the cookie crumbles there. As far as I know, it's not clear as of right now. I think they're keeping the door open because almost every single Rockstar game that they've announced has ended up being delayed by like a year, basically. So GTA 6 might not be any different. But as for AC Red, we do know that they're doing a lot differently. And so I would not be surprised at all if it's a very different game than people are used to. Avatar is just 2 weeks away. Yeah, baby. Sure is. I'm excited for it. I mean, honestly, I left that preview event much more intrigued than when I showed up. Like the sheer amount of care and attention to detail really blew me away. Like it really did. It's like, okay, every little bitty thing has been accounted for, and they are not, like, no part of this game is a quick throw it together type of thing. Every little bitty thing has been accounted for. When you see a computer on a desk in the game That had to get approved by Disney, by the Avatar executives, by the guys that design all the sets for the movies. That little bitty thing had to be approved. So like there's no part of the game that is an accident. And that to me is intriguing. Now, it could just mean that the whole experience is weighed down by that sort of corporate overview. We'll see. But at the very least, it to me shows that this is not just a quick cash grab kind of movie tie-in game like we got the 2000s all the time, you know, where they had like, you know, like all those Spider-Man games that were just terrible, like the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's like, okay, you threw this together in a year and it's a disaster. Let's see. What's going on? What's going on, my friend? What's going on? Do you think EA will use Anthem? Do you think EA will use Anthem as a base of a new Iron Man game? It was only a good Iron Man simulator. I think they easily could. I think getting the rights to Iron Man might be tricky, but yeah, I mean, that would be a very clever way of reusing all of the tech and movement stuff they designed for Anthem. But I think it would be really hard to go to Disney, who owns Marvel, and be like, hey, give us Iron Man. And they're like, okay, who's going to make the game? Those guys that just released 2 massive flops? Oh, no, thank you. Like, I don't think Disney would let them. Just personally, I don't think they would. They are doing Iron Man. I don't think BioWare is doing Iron Man, unless I really missed something. What do you think about Star Citizen and its new pyro system? Is that what they just announced? Oh, the pyro system. Yeah. Honestly, I have not looked into it enough to have an opinion. I will have to watch some videos on that. I just Googled it, and yeah, I do not have enough information to make an informed statement. Is Star Citizen a Ponzi scheme? I don't think it's a Ponzi scheme. I think because there's no money being pushed back out. I think, I mean, unless you say that it's like, instead of money being put out, it's like progress in a video game, in which case it's just like a really, really expensive kickstarted game, you know? So I guess you could say that in that way. It could be. It could be. I mean, it's disconcerting whenever you see a game that's raised $600 million and they haven't released any final product yet. What they have released is very impressive, sure, but yeah, it is kind of insane how much money people will spend on it. And man, some of those people that spend like they will straight up spend tens of thousands of dollars on Star Citizen ships and stuff. They'll spend that money on it and they get so freaking defensive if you like bring up that maybe that was not the best use of money, or maybe they shouldn't have done that. Maybe the game isn't going to be released when they think it is. Like, people will lose their minds. It's crazy. Like, I will get emails, like long emails being like, you need to shut up about Star Citizen because I think the game is actually really amazing and it's worth the money that I've spent on it. I've spent over $15,000 in it so far and I have no regrets at all. So for you to say that it's unreasonable to spend that money is outrageous. And like, it's like, bro, this just sounds like you're coping really hard because you've spent your life savings on a game that hasn't released yet. Like, I can understand why. I've played Star Citizen and I'll defend Star Citizen in a lot of ways. It's very, very remarkable and impressive in many, many ways. But like at the same time, I think it's outrageous to spend $15,000 on a video game that isn't out yet. Let me take it a step further. I think it's outrageous to spend $15,000 on a video game that has released. I think that's ridiculous. That's where I draw the line. There's a line drawn. Okay. I'm not DSP. I'm not spending 100 grand in WWE champions. Okay. I'm not doing that. I think that's not okay. I think that's bad. Oh, Lone, thank you for the 5 as well. Appreciate you. Do you think Command and Conquer or RTS will ever make a comeback for both PC and current consoles? I hold out hope every year. Love your vids. Thank you, my friend. I would say never say never. I mean, the idea just a year ago that an isometric, hardcore narrative RPG was going to be in the running for Game of the Year, that would have been insane. Like everybody would be like, what? So, I mean, and then Baldur's Gate comes out and it's just so good that people fall in love with it. And people that never played those kinds of games before are having an amazing time with it. So I would not throw it out of the realm of consideration. Like I think it is technically possible if somebody came along and innovated and did something really original and crazy cool. I could see a world where an RTS like that becomes the game again. But so unfortunately, like there's just not a lot of innovation in that space right now. You know? What happened to the Ubisoft NFT project? I think they're just kind of selling it to whoever buys it, and then they're burying the rest of it because nobody's interested. Like they've sent out emails. I've gotten emails about it. People being like, "Hey, you interested?" I did get an email from a company that I think they said they were partnered with Ubisoft to do collectible NFT things for Ubisoft. And they wanted to see if I would do a sponsorship and accept payment in the form of their NFTs. So, but that was maybe like 6 months or a year ago. I don't remember. It was a while ago. So I don't think they're taking it very seriously anymore. Like it really was just a weird phenomenon where all of these crypto bros went to executives and were like, hey, NFTs are the next crypto. Get in early and it'll be like buying Bitcoin for $1. You know, you're going to be so freaking rich, you won't even know what to do with the money. So they all did. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars and it ended up being just a total joke because they forgot, oh yeah, the only way that it's worth something is if everybody agrees it's worth something. And when everybody is roundly mocking that something, not many people want to buy it. Shocker. So Maya, thank you for the super chat as well. Luke, I really want to get into Baldur's Gate, but is it like having a second job? Currently playing Yakuza 7, which is pretty chill. It can be, but it's not an online game. You can go at your own pace. It's just, I mean, it is an extremely comprehensive, massive game that can be like 120 hours for each run. And then each run is totally different from the last based on your class, based on choices, everything else. So it can be as big of a chore or a job as you want it to be, or it can be just a nice game that you just play through in one sitting. Not one sitting, in one playthrough without going through multiple times. Ocean, much love to you too, my friend. Luke without his voice is the best ASMR experience I've ever had. Yeah, it's just nice and soft. Nice and soft. Sean ordered some merch. Can't wait. Hope you guys are good. Oh yeah, rocking and rolling. Rocking and rolling. Besides the voice, obviously. Poor little Ori has a bit of a cough too. Lockie has a little bit of a cough. Nikki's fine. She's just chilling. But yeah. And thank you, Sean, for the extremely generous super chat. Gee whiz. Gee Willy Willikers. Wow. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. But yeah, we're doing good. We're just kicking the sickness and then we're into the holiday spirit. I think our hope is to do like Christmas decorations on Saturday. All sorts of stuff. Yeah. Do you ever play games on stream? Sometimes. For us, weirdly though, every time I turn on a game, like viewership halves. People just like to hear me ramble about stuff. They prefer that much more over me playing a game. And like I've tried, because I've been like, hey, I'm a gaming YouTuber. Wouldn't you think that I should play games on stream? But people rather just listen to me ramble. Geralt of Rivia voice stream. I was going to try to do Geralt of Rivia's voice right now, which is even more gravelly, but I don't think I could do it without like seriously hurting myself. Who set back the industry more, EA for their monetization schemes or Embracer with their reckless investments? That's a very good question. I mean, I think honestly, probably Embracer's done more harm because they've like their choices and actions have led to so many people getting hired and then fired from jobs. Like there are people that they hired at certain studios that moved their whole families, sometimes across countries, to go work at this studio, and then they get fired because they didn't actually have the money to do it yet. You know, so I think there's an argument to be made that they've done more direct harm to people. Whereas like, yeah, EA has done loot boxes. Have loot boxes harmed people in that same direct way? I think some, like if you have a gambling addiction, they could wipe out your savings and stuff because they're meant to prey on those types of people. But yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think there's an argument both ways. EA just closes studios left and right, not as frequently anymore. Like most of the closures recently have been coming from Embracer. EA does have a history of doing it, but it's because they closed down like really noticeable or iconic studios with big names. But Embracer just casually did that with Volition, the guys that did the Saints Row remake. They also did Red Faction. They also did a bunch of other stuff, and that studio's gone now. You know, like to be clear, they're both bad. I don't love either one. Okay. They're both bad, but the point is, I think there's an argument to be made for either, you know? Yeah, I'm sick. Sure am. 2 months ago, Epic laid off 830 employees. Yeah, they also apparently expanded way too much and then pulled it back. And a lot of the people that they laid off were in like auxiliary departments. So like marketing staff, accounting staff, that type of thing. And that's to be expected within a recessionary period or a contractionary period within the economy, which is what we're in right now. People are kind of not seemingly aware, but like we are almost certainly within a recession right now. So, you know, don't go buying a Tesla. Save your money. Save your money. And I very much appreciate all the super chats. Don't get me wrong. But if you need the money, don't send it to me. Okay? I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I appreciate the super chats. I use it to like, you know, we take Nikki out to nice dinners and stuff. With like that from the SWAT video, I was like, hey, maybe we can make some money from this video and I could take Nikki out to a nice date or something. We did raise a lot of money on that video, so I'm going to be able to take Nikki out to like Rodizio Grill or something really fancy, which thank you all for that. But like these super chats are great. It pays for the stuff. It doesn't go to waste. Don't get me wrong. But if you need the money, never, ever, ever feel like you need to send it over. Jacob, thank you for the 5. Good timing. Off topic, I've been wanting to ask for a while. Do you believe the rumors that ZeniMax is making a Star Wars MMO? I hope so. To me, it seems like such an obvious moneymaker to put out a big Star Wars MMO. Like, there's so many people that I think would play it. I think that they could be, because if you guys aren't aware what Jacob's referencing, there's some unannounced project within ZeniMax Online, that studio, which is the same studio behind The Elder Scrolls Online. So they're working on something massive, and they have been for like 5 or 6 years. Like they've been working on something for a long time, and who knows when we'll see it announced. Maybe this year at their equivalent of E3. Time will tell, I suppose. But yeah, I think it would be a layup. As for like, if it's not that, maybe it's a big Fallout MMO. Could be. They could be finally getting around to that. Because that, I mean, Fallout 76 was sort of supposed to be that, but it's like half an MMO basically. Maybe they're doing like a full-fledged like ESO, but with Fallout. You know, maybe they do that. I don't know. I think Fallout would be easier to do, but just in terms of licensing and stuff. But yeah, if they landed the Star Wars license, that would be huge. Imagine Xbox announces that they have an exclusive, massive Star Wars MMO. Like, oh man. Did the 08 recession ever even end? Yeah. Specifically when rates started plummeting. Everybody got used to just free money. And so if you put like, it's funny when you tell people this, but like for the last decade, it's mostly been that if you put $100 in the stock market, waited a year, you'd have more when you took the money out. Like that's just been how it works. And people have been like, yeah, that's how the stock market works. You put it in, it goes up. That's how the stock market works in like booming markets. Yeah. But in rough markets and bear markets, doesn't work like that. You can put money in today and in a year, it'll be worth less. It's not a given that it'll go up, but we've been really spoiled for like 12, 13 years of just constant ups. And now we're starting to see the dips, and we've had dips most of this year, unless you're Nvidia. And so, yeah, it's just, it's very interesting to see people adjusting their perspectives to it. I really want one thing. I wish Larian purchased the Fallout IP and released an ARPG Fallout game again. Maybe Xbox partners with them. You never know. Xbox can do that now. They can do that. Dev, so wait, there's no such thing as free money? Herobrine, the Star Engine demo video was finally officially released after being delayed for polish. They added neat real-time camera data and added a few minor things. The highest camera values I saw was big number, kilometer traveled, and high speed was 98 billion meters per second. For anyone that doubled that, it was real-time. Let's see Unreal 5 try to match such scales. Yeah, I mean, it's something I think that demo does a good job of showing off, is that they haven't just been sitting on it. You know, they have been using that money to rebuild basically an entire engine for massive like space scales. So it's cool to see it. It's really cool to see it in action. Irving from one Coloradoan to another just wanted to say, what's up? Also, what's your take on the KOTOR thing? I think they're probably sitting on it. They have a couple people kind of conceptualizing stuff. As for whether it sees the light of day, I personally don't expect it. I would not expect it. You think they could add multiplayer to Starfield? I don't think so, and I don't think anybody would want that. The play spaces also aren't big enough. Like, think about how often you load in Starfield, and then think of having another player in that space with you. Like, it would get very, very crammed very, very quickly. Like, the play spaces just aren't big enough. I think in Fallout 76 it works because there's just a massive world to explore and wander through, and then like you can go into buildings and stuff. But in Starfield, I don't think it works because there's just so many load screens and small play spaces everywhere. It's my personal opinion. Chris Stat, is Fallout 76 actually good now? Personally, to me, I don't find it very enjoyable. There still is like a weird sort of there's a weird sort of delay in everything you do, like everything. Interacting with stuff, shooting stuff, it's just everywhere. There's a little bit of delay. And it's really noticeable if you play like Fallout 4 and then close it, immediately boot up Fallout 76 and try to play it. And it's just, it doesn't feel right. It feels super, super slow and non-responsive. And it pulls me out of it constantly. And frankly, like, I just don't find it super fun to just run around shooting like the same thing I've seen 15 times and then collecting more ammo and then running to the next place. Like, I like Fallout 4, the environmental storytelling, for the crazy, quirky stories, for the world building, and all the other stuff supports that, but it's not going to drive me to play it long term. Are you going to try the next gen update for Fallout 4 when it comes out? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Luke, imagine Microsoft buys Larian. I think they definitely would try, but I don't think Larian will sell until the founder is ready to retire. I think at that point we could see it, but that's basically what happened with ZeniMax. Everybody was like, back in, I found an article way back when I was making the initial video predicting that they were going to sell. I found an article from like 2011 or something, and somebody was like, after the success of Skyrim, do we expect ZeniMax, the parent company of BGS and Bethesda Softworks, do we expect them to sell off to a big conglomerate? At the time, I think it was Vivendi was the one that they thought they might be selling to. And the article was basically, they quoted a couple people, but it was basically like, nope, they're not going to do that because they want to keep growing this. They're happy where they are. They don't need that money. They're good. Maybe when they retire and they're ready to retire, they'll do it. But as of right now, they don't need to. And then sure enough, Robert Altman, Donald Trump's brother, all the other members of the board, once they got old enough that they were like, yeah, we want to go buy a yacht and retire, they decided to sell it to Xbox. The kind of tragic thing about that is that Robert Altman died. I think he was having a surgery. He was having like a gallbladder removed or something like that. And then he died due to complications from the surgery within like months of the deal going through or starting. It was very, very close. Like, he decides to sell the business to retire and take life easy with the billions he probably made. If not billions, he at least made close to $1 billion, I would imagine. But yeah, it was just tragic. He passed away before he got to do anything. Microsoft buying Remedy. Do they not have a parent company? I thought they did. Maybe they don't. I don't know. They could. I mean, especially like these award-winning studios are easy gets. Sony's being sued by who this time? Because I mean, all of these companies are constantly being sued. PlayStation Store prices. I guess we can touch on this. I haven't seen this yet. Sony being sued for £5 billion in store price class action lawsuit. Last August, it was revealed that a class action lawsuit had been assembled against Sony PlayStation, with the allegation being that the firm had ripped off millions of consumers and customers by charging unfair prices on the platform's digital store. It was kicked off by consumer champion Alex Neil, who maintains that over 6 years, PlayStation gamers in the UK were overcharged by as much as $5 billion or £5 billion or $6.2 billion. Yeah, it just got cleared to go to trial. Okay. It's being funded by a third-party litigation firm. which has quite literally invested in the class action based on the validity of the claim, the likelihood of compensation. That's a good sign. When you have a claim that's so robust that like the firms are willing to front the cash to do it, they're pretty confident that they can get a payout. I was going to say in the US, this type of lawsuit probably doesn't go anywhere, but in the UK and in Europe, you probably are much more likely to get compensated. It's been alleged that Sony PlayStation abuses its position of power and uses near monopoly on digital sales to dictate the price of content, charging up to a 30% commission on each sale. And for those taking part in the class action lawsuit, the criteria to list as a member is to have lived in the UK between 2016 and 2022 and to have bought software through the PlayStation storefront. Then you can join it and get a payout. I think it raises a really interesting question, and I think it's a very, very valid question, which is that for these platforms, there is no alternative. Like if you have a PlayStation 5, there is no other place to get games than the PlayStation storefront. So it doesn't matter if just at the end of the day, you don't have a choice. Like, yeah, you can go to GameStop and get a physical copy, but especially as they start to move into digital only consoles, there's no option for software sales. So PlayStation forces a 30% cut on everything, just like the Apple App Store. And the Xbox does this too. Don't get me twisted. They all do this. And it's a problem because like you buy the console and then you have no free market to dictate prices or to get those whittled down. And I would personally, here's a prediction for long term. I think this doesn't happen for maybe 10, 15 years, but big brain prediction time. I think there's eventually a lawsuit very similar to the one that Epic brought against Apple, specifically out of the EU, I would guess, because they have precedent there that would make this more likely to go through. But I think that there's probably lawsuits that get filed against Xbox and PlayStation, requesting basically that people be able to buy games for those consoles on outside storefronts through the console. So on PlayStation 5, like you'd be able to go to, say, GameStop.com or G2A and download the game from there or redeem the code for the game from there directly so that it's an open market. I would guess that something like that happens just because the precedent is there, and the law and regulations in a lot of these countries are pretty clear that you can't have the straight monopoly. It's just going to take a big lawsuit to force their hands. Lawsuits like this in the States like this, you may be lucky to get $25 from the payouts. Yeah, I think I got a payout from the Wells Fargo thing and also from I also got a payout from the Facebook one, the recent Facebook one, like a few months ago, that sent out payouts, and I think it was like $112 or something. But their payout was something insane. It was like tens of billions of dollars or like 900 million. I don't know. It was a lot of money. I know. I realize that's a big range. Tens of billions to maybe like some hundreds. Facebook class action. Okay, ignore me. It was 735 million. And I think I got $116 from it or something. This was only October 11th. I think this is a different one. See, there's constantly lawsuits like this. Yeah, because this was earlier in the year. Yeah, this was much earlier. But anyway, stuff like that happens all the time. I got a payout from a former employer lawsuit. It was 45 cents. Jesus. I got a $5 payout from Red Bull a few years ago. For when they were saying that Red Bull gives you wings. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was such a joke. Say what you want about the EU, but they at least are helping consumers in a lot of ways. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason the new iPhones have USB-C connectors instead of Lightning. Like in the US, they just generally have an approach of let the market figure it out. We won't mess with it. And I can appreciate that. But at the same time, you see the results of it, which is that like Apple will force you to use their specific cables. Otherwise, you can't charge your phone, or otherwise, like, you know, if you buy a knockoff cable, it might fry your phone and it might break it. And so like you start to see abuses of it very quickly. So I think that the general, like, not to dwell on it, but I think it's great to see a governmental body playing the role of like a referee in a game, of like, you know, football or soccer, whatever. And they're just trying to make sure everybody's playing by the same rules so it's fair. And when somebody misbehaves, you slap them, get them back on the field, and they keep going. But, you know, they don't need to interfere that much, but they just need to make sure everybody's playing by the same rules. I did see that, Yokes. I did see that. I think it doesn't kick in to like 2025 or something, but that's exactly what I'm talking about with the lawsuit going against Apple for the, or going against like PlayStation and Xbox. I think that's what happens. I think that they get sued in the EU, and then it's pointed to, look, you guys just approved this thing for Apple where Apple has to allow side loading of apps on their platform to avoid it being a lockdown monopoly and closed system. And so that should also be the case for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series and the Switch and everything. And you'll probably see the EU approve that as well. And so if Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo want to sell in the EU, they have to allow that. And so you're going to see some stuff change very significantly. That's my guess. That's why I think we're going to see some big changes in like a decade, probably, once those lawsuits work their way through. Nacon Games happy of how RoboCop Rogue City is doing. Yeah, RoboCop's ended up being a huge success for them. I'm really glad, because it's a weird, quirky game, but it's ended up being a big hit. I'm glad that they got one. Should we be concerned that Sony's 2024 lineup is very weak? As of what we know right now, yeah, it looks very weak. I am frustrated that they are putting so much effort into these live service games that can't seem to see the light of day. And then like they're allowing Bungie to dictate what is and is not approved. And then we see the results of Bungie's work, and like it's a disaster. Like they missed their revenue targets by 48%, and it's just a mess. Sick Luke has the voice of the doctor that would be responsible for telling me that I have 3 days to live. I'm sorry, you have 3 days to live. Did you hear me? Mr. White. Mr. White. Mr. White. Logan, thank you for the 100 bits as well. Let's see. Real question. Why are video game women objectively getting uglier, like MK9 versus new MK1 or Harley Quinn in Arkham series, Kill the Justice League? Also, F the government. I don't trust them to wipe their own ass. Also feel better, Luke. Handful of things to tackle there. First of all, thank you for the 100 bits. Secondly, I think, like, I've seen people say this. For one, I don't see Harley Quinn in the new Kill the Justice League. I don't see her as unattractive. I've seen people say like, oh, they made her ugly. I don't think she's unattractive at all. I think she's like, ba ba boom. Like, I you know, I would love to see the closed captions of that, what I just did. The ba ba boom. Yeah. Anyway, I think Harley Quinn is very attractive in the game. I don't see her as ugly or anything. I do think there was like a side by side I saw back whenever it was specifically like the side by side of, nope, where is it? It was the side-by-side of Aloy. And people thought that she was, like, her model was changed. Because I remember people posting stuff about this. Like, I think this is maybe it. Come on. Yeah. So they posted this and like, see, she went from like being kind of cute to like looking very different. Like they changed her model pretty significantly. And I'm not sure why. Like the only thing I can really see is that they seem to have made her a little wider. And then like they've changed the shape of her head a little bit, shape of her eyes a tad. I think they changed her nose a tad. Like there's just a handful of little changes that they've made. My understanding is that they're doing it to try and be more realistic, and they're trying to be like less supermodel running through the forest. Like in the real world, there would not be somebody like with perfectly trimmed eyebrows and stuff. In this context, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. And I can understand that and appreciate that commitment to realism. But at the same time, you're talking about a game with like gigantic robot dinosaurs. So if we want to suspend disbelief just a little bit and allow for trimmed eyebrows and then maybe a slimmer figure, you can get around it pretty easily. So I don't think that excuse holds up very much. So then it's like, well, why else are they doing it? And I think it's probably just because they're trying to make her look more normal. Like, spoiler alert, most people don't look like supermodels. Exhibit A. So most people, they think, would identify more with an altered version of her that's less attractive. I think that's why they're trying to do it. But I mean, I would agree there is something going on where they've tried to alter the faces and models to make them look okay. This one's just mean. I just saw this. Okay. Okay, this is mean. Come on. Come on, guys. Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? Come on. Oh God. Anyway. Yeah, just pull it up. Come on. It's not that bad. Like if we saw this, I'd be like, okay, like we know what you're doing. We know what you're doing, but yeah. Like, is it that big of a deal? No. Is it going to affect the game? No. Like the game's going to be just as fun as ever. And like, I do find it really, really funny when gamers are like, they're like, oh, this character isn't hot enough for me, or they need to mod the character to have bigger boobs and stuff. I'm like, bro, just chill out. Go meet someone, or like pull a boogie. Go on like whatever place he went on, the like sugar daddy website. Go there, get yourself someone. Chill out. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. Yeah, sometimes there's some of these guys that you see online that's like, bro, you are too thirsty. Chill out. Boogie destroyed himself. Yeah, he kind of did. He kind of did. I can't say that I feel that bad. Like, he kind of did it all to himself. Okay. When are they going to redo Boogie's character model? Now that's the question. That's the question. Oh, man. Are we talking about Tifa's boob gay now? Yeah, was that also a thing? I don't know, man. Whenever I see that, I think it's a very vocal minority of very thirsty incels, and I'm just not that interested, you know? Hot take, they make uglier girls in games to prevent opening the world up to another DSP gaming oopsie. They don't want to risk it. They don't want to risk it. I met Boogie once. He lives in my city. I waited at his table. He was really nice. Makes me sad. I think he is a nice guy. I just think that he is a, what was the term? Covert narcissist is what they call it. And then also he, I think has like a victim complex. Like he has to be the victim 24/7. And so like he can't distinguish between positive attention and negative attention. To him, it's just attention, and that's all he wants. And it's just too bad. Oh, Sean, you just watched the Boogie doc yesterday. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. There's some like little mistakes in it that the documentarian made, that he's admitted to and been very transparent about. Like, you know, their tally on his total debts and stuff wasn't accurate. Boogie said that like he spent $200,000 on escorts. Apparently that number was more like probably $100,000 on escorts, including the travel to the places where he met them. So he'd schedule an appointment with an escort for like a Friday night in Los Angeles, and then he would fly out there, and all of those costs, you know, get bundled in with it. So like there were some little bitty things. Then he also traveled a lot and filmed a bunch of videos while traveling. And so he'd go to VidCon and then also get an escort, but he counted those costs as all part of the escort thing. So it was definitely sensationalized. There was a lot of little stuff like that. But yeah, he's just kind of a crazy person. Do you think we're seeing Last of Us Part 2 on PC in 2024? I would think so. Probably later in the year, probably like September, October. But yeah, it makes too much sense not to. I have not seen Turkey Tom's latest DSP video. I don't know if it's good. I'll watch it. I'm already like pretty knee deep in all of it, so I don't know if it's just gonna be a recap of stuff that I've seen already. Luke, I remember Boogie getting bullied by Anita Sarkeesian at VidCon. Yeah, well, funny story. I was actually in talks with Modern Day Debate to do a debate against Anita Sarkeesian. And it eventually fell through. Like there was a lot of like little crap that happened, and there were some unrealistic demands. So like there were just a handful of things, but yeah, apparently she's still around, but there were many requirements that she listed that just made it like, this doesn't make sense. So then they found another person for me to potentially debate, and it was like this, like I know some people will just casually throw out the term like crazy person. I actually mean like this person I think was not well. Like she had like videos on her channel. I think she had like 1,000 subs or something, but she had videos on her channel where she's just like openly screaming for like 3 minutes straight, nothing but Roblox yourselves, all white men. And she'd just say it on repeat into the camera for minutes and minutes on end. Like it was, you watch it and you're like, this is not okay. Like this person is not okay. Like it was a little scary, honestly. And so I started looking at that stuff, and I was like, what part of this would be a productive discussion? Like no part of this would be productive. So, positive affirmations. Yeah, it was like that. It was almost like that. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. So I told James, I was like, I don't think they're a good fit, honestly. I don't think that's a good fit. And so they kept an eye open. They tried to talk to some other people, but nothing ever worked out, and it just fell through and nothing ever happened. But yeah, in another universe, I would have debated Anita, but she apparently was not feeling it. Not feeling it. Isaac, thank you for the 5. Good to see everyone. Hope you start feeling better, man. Take a day off, relax. The Simps can handle it. Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, basically what we're going to do here in just a few minutes. We'll probably wrap up. I'm going to go drink a lot of tea. I was hoping to film Friday's video today, but I don't think I can. My voice is like already on the edge. So yeah. But on, we'll be back streaming Friday. So we'll do that. We'll do the podcast Friday. And then Monday we'll be back to the normal arrangement. Hey Luke, does the Suicide Squad game make you want to go and buy and play another great live service game like Marvel's Avengers? Oh wait, yeah. Well, it's like I say in that video. I'm like, if you look at that and you have any response other than I want to play this for years on end, it's a failure. Like that's the whole point of that game, is to make you play it long term. So if you don't want to play it long term, they failed. Got any good gaming chairs between $200 and $300? I can't find one. Honestly, don't Google for gaming chair. Google office ergonomic chair. That's what you do. It'll be way better for your back. It'll feel way better. It'll just work way better. Like that's the way to go. I'm telling you what. Logan, also, thank you for subbing with at tier 1 over on Twitch. Appreciate you. And thank you also for the 100 bits. My professor called him, I'm assuming Boogie, a wounded dove narcissist. Is there RT for The Last of Us 2 PS5? Well, is there RT? I'm not sure what that means. Rebecca Watt. Yeah, hashtag throwback. Yeah, they pretty much have all disappeared. They've pretty much all disappeared. And whether that's because they got their bag and got out, or whether they were bullied out, or they just, I don't know. But yeah, they've all pretty much disappeared at this point. Which, I mean, frankly, I'm not that upset about. I don't think anybody's missing out on too much. Oh, ray tracing? Oh, okay. I'm with you. I think they did. Well, actually, did they say there's ray tracing? Frankly, I don't think they do have ray tracing in it. And I don't think they need to, because they do all sorts of insane, like cube maps and crazy levels of carefully arranged box tracing and not box tracing. Well, it's cube maps, but screen space reflections, all that. Like The Last of Us Part 2, there's moments where you'll be playing and you're like, that's not ray traced? That looks so good. It could be ray traced reflections and stuff. So every once in a while, they'll just blow you away with that. But I don't think they've mentioned ray tracing specifically. Luke's brain's shutting down. Yeah, it's overheating. It's overheating. It's slowly shutting down. Randy Pitchford as bad as David Cage. I don't know enough about the discussion to say either which way. Luke, South Park trailer, OMG. Oh, did they just drop one? Let's see. Videos 3 minutes ago. Oh, it's a new Snow Day trailer. Okay, here we go. Jacob, if you're watching, we should get this clipped ASAP. Assuming it's good. Maybe it's terrible. Let's see. Okay, this is the video game they've been working on. Let's see what we're dealing with.
Hey, you ready to come play another game? Okay, new kid, we have all new rules this time. Now you can play alone or with 3 of your closest friends. Unless you don't have any friends, then you can just join matchmaking and play with randos. Now listen, Clyde has information that the elves are preparing to launch a massive attack on our kingdom. They've been spotted advancing their forces near Stark's Pond. We have to take them out before they kill us all. Good luck!
Yeah, get him, new kid!
They're attacking into a swarm. Show no mercy, new kid! You can't keep running into arrows and stay alive, dumbass.
Okay, very nice, guys.
I know you're hiding something, Cal, and we're gonna find out what it is. Weapons are nice, new kid, but this game's also about using cogs. You got Fart Escape, a blast from the ass. Try it out. You've been using that Fart Escape a lot, so be careful with your colon. Hey, player 2, he died again?
Well, you're just the best little healer, aren't you? You're making a mistake, Cartman.
Are you denying that you were gearing up your entire army to attack our fucking base?
Says who?
Says Clyde.
And do you always trust what Clyde says?
Hell no, Clyde's a total dumbass.
You're all acting crazy.
Got weapons here.
It's the apocalypse.
Prepare to die.
Kick that fucking elf's ass!
No! Good luck trying to ruin this game. I'm sure you'll manage.
Okay. Honestly, I'm still not totally sure what kind of game it is. It looks like it's like a hero shooter. The way they describe it is a 4-player co-op and battle your way through snow-piled town of South Park on a quest to save the world and enjoy a day without school. Equip and upgrade devastating melee and ranged weapons. Deploy special abilities and powers that will bring hordes of enemies and epic bosses to their knees. Okay. I mean, I'm at the very least interested. It's South Park, and I love South Park, so I'm already interested, so I'm down. No, I've played every South Park game. I really, really like the Stick of Truth. The Fractured But Whole is good. For me, it's not quite on the same level. Mainly, I think it's probably because I just played Stick of Truth first. Like, in a lot of ways, the Fractured But Whole is a much better video game. It's bigger, it's badder. There's a lot more gameplay elements to it, but like the original was put together by Obsidian, the same guys that did Fallout New Vegas. You know, like they know their RPGs, and it was pretty fun. You sound thicker, puberty. Yeah. Finally happened. I'm 2 kids in and I just hit puberty. That was the whole thing. Probably turn-based. No, what they showed there was actual gameplay. Steve, Luke, do you think The Last of Us 2 Remastered was also planned to be announced for PC, but they're holding it off? Holding off on it because of the Last of Us Part 1 PC launch? Yeah, perhaps. They can take some extra time. And again, like Sony's done this a lot. They like to double dip. So if they can get you to buy it on PS5 for the $10 upgrade fee, and then you play it, they wait a year, and then they release it on PC with like extra oodles and boodles of improved graphical performance abilities and stuff. They then can like potentially, at least there's probably some decent percentage of people that will buy it again on PC. And so they would love to double dip. Whereas if they announce like, hey, it's coming on PS5 and PC 3 months later or on launch day, you know, people are just going to buy it on PC. But if they stagger it, they get you to buy it on PS5 and then also elsewhere, you know. Nikki's calling me. I think that's probably a good time to end it, just in case this is an emergency. So much love, everybody. I will see you in the next one. Stay safe. Feel better. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I love you dearly, and I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.